everybody, and welcome back to GameRant.com. We are in New York City, Raph. You are here as sort of my bounce board of ideas, but I am here in New York City, invited by Nintendo to check out the Nintendo Switch 2. I got to play it, got to hold it, got to mess with it. What more can you ask for a hands-on opportunity than to get to play some of the exciting new games that are releasing later this year for Nintendo Switch when it releases June 5th, and then some of the titles that are going to be enhanced with the Nintendo Switch 2 edition. Raph is here to kind of ask me questions, walk us through my time with the Switch, to be my spirit guide, so to speak. Thanks for hanging out with me, Raph.
I have been trying to bite my tongue as we set up the video, as we made our way to the office, just trying to not ask you questions so I could be here to channel the spirit of the audience.
So I think we'll start off. So we were shown the Nintendo Direct, which everybody has watched at this point. And, I mean, I think it was a pretty comprehensive look at what Nintendo has planned for the Switch, potentially through the end of 2025, maybe not through the end of 2025. But there was a lot of interesting things that was revealed not as part of the Direct. The price, $449.99 in the US. Some of the game pricing, $80 for certain games. A lot of stuff is still unclear, so we won't go into anything that wasn't like specifically Direct focused. But in the room, so a bunch of media were in a room watching the Direct, and there were some reactions. Many of the reactions were to third-party games, like Hollow Knight Silksong being still in development for a 2025 release, a From Software game that's exclusive to Nintendo Switch. But I think people were super stoked on the Mario Kart kind of world concepts that they saw, and then the Donkey Kong kind of show ender. People were very excited. I played both of them, so we are going to talk about them.
Yeah, so I want to know from you, I guess I do want to ask you how the hardware felt in your hands.
Hardware first, yeah. So you can definitely feel that it's bigger, but it's not bigger in the sense of like heftier. It's just, it feels taller. One of the things that I noted was, these are my hands. I don't know if,
They are.
Gives you... But when you're holding it, the like bottom of the Switch 2 kind of rests on your fingers like that, and it felt comfortable in the hands. It didn't feel particularly heavy. The screen is nice. I know it's not an OLED screen. We had a developer roundtable after our hands-on time where they kind of talked about different elements of the design. Those three people, the kind of hardware team that we saw during the presentation, they kind of talked through things, and they explained why they landed on the LCD. If I were to make a guess, it's because of the price. They don't want the price to be any more than it already is. But you don't notice, it doesn't feel like a downgrade. It does feel good. I was able to take off the Joy-Cons. That magnetism is pretty neat. It feels very firm. They get in there. The triggers with the little kind of rounded. So looking at it now, it's a little more finned out. It felt good. The shoulder buttons, as compared to this one in front of me, being a little bigger.
Are the shoulder buttons still like binary? Like they're not analog like an Xbox one, right?
So they did talk about that. There's no, for racing games, how you have sort of like you can pull like a throttle or a trigger or anything like that. They are instantaneous. There was really nothing about the Switch 2 that I felt, okay, this doesn't feel as good, if not better, than the original Switch. I would say that the Joy-Cons, feeling them in your hands, there were a few instances where we were using just the Joy-Cons in our hands, not attached to anything, and I feel like that felt better than the first time I held. But maybe it could just be me being used to it. It's a solid system. I think that's it in a nutshell. They played it safe. They called it the Switch 2, and I think the console is not trying to change too much and make you feel like, this is so foreign to me, it's going to take some time. I will say the mouse part, which we'll get into, was a little more, this will take some getting used to, but just holding it in your hands, you feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm riding a bike.
The face of the analog stick is bigger. Did you feel that at all, or is that?
Yeah, I will say that. I think it's more my memory of using like PC handhelds, which have bigger joysticks, so I just like that sticking in my mind. For those of you that maybe know me, I'm a docked through and through Switch guy, so I don't use it in handheld all that much. So my memory of what the joysticks feel like, but feeling them there, they're bigger and definitely an improvement.
And
I think.
they said they're silent now. Like, is the throw more
It was
sensitive?
too loud.
Okay.
It was too loud in the venue to be able to kind of like get a sense for that. I will say I felt the HD Rumble, and the HD Rumble feels as good as it ever did. Better, hard to say. You'd have to like go little by little, but yeah, it's HD Rumble is back.
Okay. What about that? So that magnet button, is that more like a GameCube click and release, or is it there's a lot of throw on it, or?
It definitely feels like it's disengaging. So there's a little bit of tension there. It's more you feel it when you put the Joy-Con back. You feel it kind of like pull. It feels really satisfying. I think it is a better implementation than the kind of the rail system.
the
rail system. Putting the Joy-Cons in and out, I think, will be better on the Switch 2, and it does feel a little nifty. It's a cool feel for sure.
And same thing when you're switching them to mouse mode, you put on the wrist straps.
A cool thing that you can do. So I was playing Metroid Prime 4 Beyond in mouse mode. So left Joy-Con using the joystick, and then right Joy-Con in mouse mode. You can literally take the right one and turn it and just use it like a separate Joy-Con. And you don't have to say, I'm switching. You could say, I want to aim like this, and now I want to use the joystick.
That's very cool.
Doesn't take any effort. So you don't have to ever say, I want to be in mouse mode. Or at least in Metroid Prime 4, you never had to say that. And the developers of the console made it seem like it is instantaneous. Whatever you want to do, if it supports that mouse functionality, you can do.
Okay, I want to ask if you got to use the Pro controller.
We did, yes. So we were able to use the Switch in a few different ways, handheld mode with the kind of slide the Joy-Cons onto the controller, and then a Pro controller, and then mouse mode. We also played drag and drive with the dual mouse mode. Yeah, the Pro controller, it's a great controller. Like the original Nintendo Switch is a great controller, and I think the Pro controller is still good. Having those back buttons. The original one does not have back buttons.
No back buttons.
No back buttons. No. Okay. Having back buttons is huge. I am a big proponent of third-party Switch controllers because I like the back buttons for a lot of different reasons. Zelda specifically being able to sprint to that. So yeah, having that on there feels like a no-brainer. But it feels like a great Pro controller. And also, all those controllers that you own will work with the Switch 2. They said, if you have just a Switch 1 Pro controller, if you want to use your Joy-Cons, they will work. You can't obviously attach them, but they will work. There's like a few instances where things don't work. Like they said Labo obviously won't work because you can't. But by and large, you should be able to use all your accessories with the Switch 2.
And did you catch, does the Amiibo connect on the controllers at the same spots as the original?
Do not know. No Amiibo there. I have a ton of Amiibos, so I'm definitely gonna, next Zelda, I'm gonna get in my daily loot drops, but no word on Amiibo.
Okay.
I guess the final thing to talk about is the mouse mode. I will say this. They had the controllers tethered because they do not want you to steal the stuff. So using the mouse mode, it was hindered by the fact that the Joy-Cons were tethered. Untethered, I feel like it would feel better. But the mouse mode is still very precise. Playing Metroid, I felt like, like a mouse, I could accurately pinpoint things. That being said, clicking the trigger button as a mouse click, it takes some getting used to. It doesn't feel as natural as using a mouse.
Oh, it's the trigger. It's not the L1. It
is the trigger, correct, yeah. I don't know if you could actually... So, yeah, like ZR is what I was clicking to shoot as Samus. But having to click that with like an instant button, it just didn't feel as good as using a mouse. I hope that they like just release a mouse. But then at the same time, what are you doing? Why aren't you just playing mouse and keyboard or something like that? But precision, it was solid, and I think having that as an option and being able to accurately aim with the mouse is cool. And I think if more games use it, you'll get to see like this is the secret sauce of the Switch. But it's, again, safer than like some crazy tech. It's something familiar. But in Metroid and in Civ, it felt okay. Not great, but that was partially just because of the being tethered.
Okay, so you played, I assume, most of the things.
I played everything that was there. So kind of the two main showpieces was Mario Kart World, which was divided into two hands-on opportunities. The first one was playing just racing. You're paired up with a person, and we played on the screen, each of us having one of the Joy-Con controllers, and we just raced. It's Mario Kart. If you're coming to the game for Mario Kart, it's Mario Kart. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say, like, oh, this is revolutionizing Mario Kart. It's still very familiar, but it looks really great. There were a lot of characters to choose from, characters with fun costumes. There's like a Boo.
The costumes are great.
Yeah, the Boo looks like I think he's like a pirate or a Dracula. There's like a goofy Waluigi. So there's fun costumes. Some new power-ups. There's like the Mega Mushroom where you turn giant. You can run people over. There's a feather. So a new kind of defensive option, I think. Or to like get to shortcuts that launches you into the air. But at the end of the day, it is Mario Kart. But I think what makes Mario Kart cool for the Switch 2 or Mario Kart World cool for the Switch 2 is the knockout mode. Knockout Tour, which was what they showed us in the second portion. And I mean, I think that's going to be like the streamer game of 2025. Like, it's Battle Royale Mario Kart. 24 people, you're racing, and when you start with 24, and then it goes down in 4 increments. So you need to be the 19th person to cross the finish line to continue.
Okay. And so this is like what do you say, like 20-minute game?
A little less, I think.
Okay.
It depends. So you're not doing laps or anything like that. It's connecting different tracks.
And no pause. Like you are...
No pause. So before we jumped into the Knockout Tour, we were in free roam mode. So we were just in an area we could kind of zoom around. We didn't get to see what the open world stuff or the suggestion of the open world stuff is. We were only able to see, okay, you're in this zone. It's free roam. You can just drive around. And then, okay, all 24 people are ready. You get to vote on a cup or the symbol for a cup. It randomly chooses that and then says, okay, you're going to go from this track to this track to this track, like showing you the path. And then in between each track, you need to be underneath that 4-player threshold till eventually there's 4 players and first place wins and everybody else loses.
It's pretty cool.
It's super cool. I mean, it is, in my mind, it might be the best thing I played for the Switch 2. I think without a doubt, it is going to get the most attention. It's like a great entry point for Battle Royales. It's not too like... the barrier for entry is really low. There is some of the chaos and the nonsense associated with Mario Kart where you're like, okay, I'm in first place and now everybody's getting, walloping me and now I'm in last place. So I do think if you're like one of those people that's super competitive and you want to win each one, you're going to say, this is not.
The ideal place to be is 4.
Yeah, yeah, because I was in first place maybe like once and I just immediately got trounced because instead of let's say 1 or 2 people that are going to hit you with a red shell, you just get bombarded because everyone's just using all their items. They're going crazy. You do just take a lot of punishment, but it's super fun, and the chaos is what makes Mario Kart unique.
I want to know, are the new, for lack of a better word, the new mechanics, like the grinding or the wall running, are those, do you press a button like Tony Hawk, like you have to press triangle, or it just doesn't?
No. When I was playing it all, I went up to a rail and I did it.
Okay.
One of the cool things about this Mario Kart that I think that they added is if you're holding an item and you get hit, you drop that item so other people can pick it up. And if you're holding one item and you go through a question mark block, you can actually get a second item. So there's some smart quality of life things added. And I think overall, it just feels like a more refined, but not necessarily different. Like that grinding, I didn't experience enough of it to be able to say like, oh, this is changing the game. Kind of similar to like driving on the walls or driving on the water or using the glider. It doesn't necessarily change much about what makes Mario Kart fun. And I don't think anything that I saw at least was this is going to be a game changer. It's that mode that I think is the game changer.
What about the hovercraft? Was it like very swimmy? Would it feel?
It felt the same as you know, driving on the walls in Mario Kart 8. There was no like this feels different. But also we were playing with other media people, so you know there might be more of an instance of like, I'm going to play Knockout Tour with just bots. I don't even know if you can play with bots, but maybe. Everybody was drifting. Everyone was getting their red sparks. So it was kind of like extremely more competitive. So maybe it'll feel different. Patrik, who is our editor and video recorder, won. Got first place.
Very big congrats.
He did excellent. So then we played Donkey Kong Bonanza. I mean, in that trailer, you might have been really impressed by the destruction. Playing it yourself, it's really cool. You can chew through the ground way more than you would think. You think, okay, it's got to be some like fixed points, and that is kind of true. But there's so much of the environment you can just punch through and destroy. It's a lot.
I have a big question about this game.
Big question.
What is the structure of it? Is it levels where you go start to finish, or is it a explore and get a golden banana to progress?
There are, I think, areas, because we played a section and then they said we're going to jump you forward to this new area. But there are, I mean, I don't want to be reductive, but Donkey Kong Bonanza feels like their 3D Mario for a Switch 2 launch, because you go through these zones and you're seeking out these bananas. I think they're called Bananium or Banandium, something like that. Don't quote me on that. But you punch these bananas and then you unlock them. So they're like Mario stars. And some of them are like key to your progression. You talk to characters. They say, I want you to do something for me, and then you get rewarded. And other ones are just, you punch through the ground a bunch and you found one. So I think that's going to be like your 3D Mario chase is get these bananas, but in these zones. And there's probably a bunch of hidden ones and secret ones. Didn't really see a lot of, you know, I found one secret one. But it's that destruction and what you can do. You can pick up the ground and throw it. You can pick up the ground and then like surf on it.
Oh,
there's some crazy movement tech that I think speedrunners are going to go crazy over. But it's really, really cool how you can just, I think kids especially are just going to be like, I want to lay waste to this entire environment. Being able to jump and slam down and like punch a hole, it's very cool. It is super impressive. And besides Knockout Tour, Donkey Kong Bonanza blew me away.
I rolled that, and that's like 3 weeks after launch, I think?
Yes. Not like July something? Right, so yeah.
It's already a good cadence of launch game or launch window games.
You know, I know a lot of people were thinking, where's the 3D Mario? I do think Donkey Kong Bonanza is the 3D Mario, and it is doing something very clever with the concept of what Donkey Kong does is just like smash stuff. But it's bringing something to the table that's cool, and I would imagine is only possible on the Switch 2, not possible on the Switch. So that destruction tech is really cool. The particle, you know, things just exploding, bunch of gold going everywhere. It's very cool.
Okay, I guess then the biggest question of all, how did you like, I don't remember the name of the game, Anthony. I want to know, how did you like
Dragon Drive?
No, I was gonna say the one where you're the little guy in the controller learning about the Switch.
Oh, I mean, that was just like a tech demo. So it teaches you like, here's it being paid is oof. But yeah, it really is like, here's an introduction to, like, we put a bunch of thought and effort into the Switch 2, and here is our opportunity to like show it to you. But yeah, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I don't know if you need to buy it.
I was here in the office talking a big game of like, it's pretty nifty. Nintendo wouldn't charge for it if it wasn't mighty cool. So I'm
no.
Okay.
But I did play Metroid Prime 4 Beyond using the mouse, as I alluded to, and Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is quite cool. Didn't get to see any of the psychic powers that people are kind of like, that seems very basic. But being able to use the mouse mode and kind of more accurately target, you can still lock on, but then being able to move the mouse and, zoom in. And the demo ended with a boss fight where you had to hit like weak points, and being able to actually target those with the mouse versus just like kind of moving the stick, but felt good. I liked those Metroid Prime games, and Beyond felt like another good one of those, but saw just a little bit of it.
Did it, when you were playing not with the mouse mode, did it feel like the old GameCube games, or did it have the remastered dual stick experience?
I would say no, more like the remastered version.
Okay, like the remastered. Okay,
but I was excited for that game without the mouse element. The mouse element is cool, but I don't feel like it's essential. It doesn't change the game. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. You can also just play it on Switch 1, I believe.
Yeah.
So one of the things I do want to say is a lot of the games looked real good. They did confirm DLSS in the developer roundtable, so higher frame rate, crisper textures. You can see that at work in the ports. There were a lot of ports available. Hogwarts Legacy, Civilization 7. Cyberpunk 2077, in my opinion, was the weakest showing. They had a disclaimer like, this is not final. It just did not run very well. It did not look crisp.
Famous reputation of struggling on lower end hardware.
Yeah, if you sprint, it gets real blurry. I think that might be some of the DLSS doing its best, but it's hard to say how to feel about the third-party games, because I think for a lot of people, if you were interested in that game, you already played it. But Nintendo wants you to be able to play it on their system, and they want you to be able to play it in like the best presentation. Like playing Zelda in a higher resolution, a higher frame rate, it feels good. I put so many hours in Tears of the Kingdom. Do I want to do that again? I don't know. It did look good.
Zelda with HDR did feel very exciting to me.
It did look good. It ran well. It's snappier. You can switch weapons and like go into the menu much quicker, crisper looking. It feels better, but
was that 60 on the Switch 2?
I think what we played was close to 4K 60.
Wow.
We also played it in handheld mode. Felt good on handheld mode as well. They want you to play in handheld mode, but even though I'm a dock through and through guy. If you haven't played any of those games, it opens the door for you, and you're not going to feel like, oh, I'm getting a lesser experience. If you have a high-powered PC, you probably played most of these games at high frame rate, high resolution, higher than what the Switch 2 can do. But there's that middle ground of like, I didn't play this yet, or I was holding off on playing Tears of the Kingdom because I thought they were going to do this, and they did do this. Granted, you do have to pay more money, and there's the upcharge and stuff like that. So that's kind of
we'll find out about those upgrade fees a little later.
Yeah. I would say the only other thing worth talking about is Dragon Drive, which is the wheelchair-based basketball game. What an arm workout! Like you gotta like both Joy-Cons or one Joy-Con to turn. You have to shoot. You have to raise your arm and shoot. Precision is going to be challenging. In some ways, maybe it's a tech demo, but what an arm workout.
But it was coul. It was something you want to play more of.
When I want an arm workout, maybe. In a lot of ways, it did kind of feel like, this is the game that we're really showing off the mouse functionality using something where you're not you don't have to be as precise. Like anybody can see the functionality versus Metroid Prime was like you have to kind of know the basics of a mouse. This was teaching you like here's how this can work, and I think that's neat.
Speaking of the mouse, did you get to use it on a bunch of different textures? Like, would it
you
work
can
on
use it on your pants? Yeah.
It would work?
I did use it on my pants. You can use it on different surfaces. Somebody did ask, like, mouse and keyboard is for a desk, and console is for sitting on your couch in most cases. And they said, yeah, you can use it on your pants. You could use it on your cat, I'm sure. It didn't seem like it was hindering the precision, at least as far as drag and drive was concerned, because you're just kind of like simulating the wheels.
Doing it.
You're not. Maybe that precision you need it with something like further down the line might not work if it was on your pants, but.
Did you get to do any of the camera stuff while you were there?
Yes. So the camera stuff for the Mario Party Jamboree, it's very cool. It was a lot of yelling because there was a game that was like, the voice. I think it's the Bowser Live or something like that. It's some crazy cool tech as far as being able to pinpoint like this is this person and here's them in the camera next to their character or whatnot. It's cool stuff. I don't know how much of that I'm going to use, but I think there'll be a ton of people that will think it's very, very neat to mess around with it and being able to play Mario Party where you can see each other, especially if you're playing online, I think will be fun.
I was nervous when I saw that it was going to be like $100 Kinect accessory or something like that, but it seemed like it was a more reasonable price. I think it was.
I don't know what the price is.
I think it was 50 or 60. Well,
yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that is like you had to search on the internet, and I've just been in this Nintendo thing this whole time.
So you told me your most exciting games. And
don't make me say my least exciting.
No, I wouldn't do that. I want to know what was your hottest take? What was was the thing that outside of a good game that got you most excited?
That magnetism is real cool.
Okay.
It's real stupid to be excited by that, but it just like the way it goes in there feels real good. I don't play handheld mode, but the kickstand, having that kickstand, having it be much easier to take them off, I would be more likely to do that thing where they, show you in the trailers, like, hey, you're on a train or whatever, like pop and then use the screen. A bigger screen, more real estate. The kickstand feels better. This thing seems very flimsy. And then them coming off much easier. And I know it's like just a slide, but it does feel like more agreeable.
It's a bit of a production on the old one.
Yes. So I will say that's like my sleeper tech element. Yeah, it was a good event. Thank you to Nintendo for having Game Rant out to play it. It was a unique opportunity. I feel very privileged to be able to play. And I came away excited to be able to experience Donkey Kong and Mario Kart. I think the kind of main theme is playing it safe. And it is called Switch 2 and not something crazy. But I do think that they're in a place where risks are not being rewarded anymore. And Switch is so successful. Like, of course they're going to say Mario Kart is one of the best-selling games of all time. Of course they're going to lead with Mario Kart. I know a lot of people are like, no, you got to lead with something else. Mario Kart is so successful for them. Like, they're definitely playing it safe in a lot of ways. But then I think Donkey Kong adds that element of, like, this is flashy and cool and has some new tech. And then also this mouse mode is not the most game-changing addition, but it's a clever piece of tech that nobody else is doing in console gaming. Obviously, you have mouse and keyboard. So yeah, I do think that there's enough slightly new to make it feel different.
You get a Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, Metroid, and then it gives them time to ramp up more stock before your Marios and your Zeldas and Animal Crossing, that type of thing. So.
Absolutely, and I think the prospect of getting a 4K picture or close to a 4K picture, close to 120 FPS, thanks to DLSS and things like that, will mean that though the games, if you want to dig into it, your digital foundries are going to say, well, this isn't technically, you're going to have a better looking game. You're going to have games where Pokemon Legends, in the room, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, we're going to have a Pokemon game that runs pretty well. So you do have reasons to pick it up. June 5th $449 is I think that, and then the game pricing is the big hurdle.
Touchy point, yeah.
Because Nintendo threw down the gauntlet, and now Grand Theft Auto is going to make their price $100.
They just got to double it, whatever it is.
But again, thank you so much to Nintendo for inviting us out to the event. Thank you so much for watching this preview. If you like these previews, let us know, and we'll do more of them. We'll fly out to New York to play every game possible. Well, that's it for today. From cloudy and cold New York, I'm Anthony, he's Raph. Thanks.